everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So we got the final test to do with the Samsung Q995F or Q990F, so for some of you guys out there, and that is the music test. We're gonna see how good this setup is with music, and that is something that you guys asked me to do with last year's during Black Friday test that I did with the Q990D or Q995D to try it out with music, but I already returned the unit by then, so we're gonna test it out with the Samsung Q995F instead and see how good it is with music. Why not use something that you have in your living room that is as good as this for music as well? So we're gonna see how good it is. And the biggest difference when you blast it with, let's say you're using it for your setup for as TV speakers versus with music, is that you have to blast the volume up a little bit louder than you have to do with TV or with movies. So that's the biggest difference. And I actually managed to turn on the SpaceFit Pro. I don't know why it didn't want to do it before, and but we are gonna use SpaceFit Pro. We're gonna use bass enhancement, so all those features is turned on, so we're gonna see how good this setup is, and then we're gonna try it out with the Sonos setup as well, or we're gonna compare it. We're gonna see how good something like that is versus the Sonos TruePlay with some fixes with the settings as well. So we're gonna compare those two with music today. Now there is something I want to point out that I really hate about this soundbar, as I've been using it for the past week, and the only thing that I really hate about this soundbar for now is that they took away that internet input. That, man, I don't know why Samsung did that, but I use my Sonos speakers. I have at least the ARC connected through wire with internet cable directed to my router, so it makes it a lot easier to use the speakers once I want to use them. So it will never be disconnected in any way once when I have at least one of the speakers connected, and that has been a real headache with the Samsung soundbar. Now, if you don't have any problems with your Wi-Fi, that's not going to be a problem for you guys. But if you are having a Wi-Fi or a router that sometimes or a lot messes up, then you know what I'm trying to say, because that really messes up the whole experience with the soundbar. Like, I know that you can use your remote control. I have used the remote control for the past week. I have barely used the app because I don't know what's going on with the soundbar and why it doesn't want to really connect to my Wi-Fi. It connects and then it disconnects itself, and then it connects itself. So, like I said, I wish that they didn't just take away that internet input, because that's really important for me, at least. I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me it's really important that a soundbar have something like that, because you cannot just rely on Wi-Fi totally. Not for me. Maybe some of you guys can, or a lot of you guys can, but for me, I cannot just rely on my Wi-Fi. That would just give me even more headache even with the Sonos setup. And I have tried to explain that in my other videos, that I have at least the Sonos ARC connected to the router, because it makes the whole experience easier. So I don't know, maybe Samsung will bring it back, if they will, I don't know, for next year's. But for now, that is the one thing that I really hate about this soundbar, and I wish that they didn't do that. But yeah, that's not what we're gonna talk about in today's video. We're gonna do a little bit of a music test. So let me just turn around the camera, and we're gonna blast music through my Apple TV to the speakers, and I'm gonna show you on my TV what we're gonna blast. So let's turn that around and see how good it is. And we're gonna turn the volume. Now, as I said, I cannot get the soundbar or the system connected to the SmartThings app from Samsung. So watch the soundbar. To the right of the soundbar, there's a little bit of light, so you're gonna see the volume on that, because, like I said, I haven't been able to connect it to my to the SmartThings app. So look at those little numbers on the right, and we're gonna blast it yeah, maybe 250 or something like that. So yeah, let's go.
My guys know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta roll with ice. Cool, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cool, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta ride or die.
Listen guys, you know I'm a bass head, but the bass is a little bit too much when it comes to music, so we're gonna turn it down a little bit. I have it on +6 and we have bass enhancement on, and yeah, I don't wanna make my neighbors downstairs nauseous with the bass, so we're gonna turn it down a little bit. We're gonna turn it down. We have bass enhancement on, and we have bass on +6 for now. We're gonna turn it down. We're gonna still have the bass enhancement, but we're gonna turn down the bass to +2 or 1 maybe. But we're gonna turn down the bass a little bit. So let's go.
These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta roll with ice. Cool, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cool, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ack, now I gotta ride or die. Now I gotta ride or die.
So that was the sound test or music test with the Samsung Q995F, and let me just say that it sounds amazing. It's the first time I actually tried another setup up for music other than my Sonos. I have like other speakers from JBL, I have the DVLA Phantom and all that, but this is the first time I tried another setup up, and this sounds amazing. The Samsung, like I said, the Samsung put the bar so high with the last year's soundbar, and this year it's an amazing soundbar. It sounds amazing with the surround speakers and that sub that they have released for this year. This sub is amazing. It's so small and yet it produces so much bass. It's definitely an upgrade. If you're wondering if this year's Samsung Q995F is an upgrade, the sub is the one part that I would say it is an upgrade, and I wish that Samsung maybe will do an firmware update where you can buy a second sub like this for your Q995D, because I would say I don't know why Samsung did that with the whole internet input and all that, because it's pretty much the same speaker, the same soundbar, but unless you want that 120 hertz 4K or whatever they put in this year's soundbar, then I would say then go for this year. But I wish that Samsung would really do something as what Sonos is doing, because if Samsung manages to put in something like Sonos where you have a whole ecosystem where you can put in more and more stuff, like you start with a soundbar, you put in a sub, you put in a second sub, you put in some surround speakers, and then you can group in a whole other set of speakers. So that is the Sonos ecosystem, and I don't think any other brand for now does something like that. But yeah, so let me just put in the Sonos setup and we will try it out and see how that sounds compared to something like the Samsung. Let's go. Guys, we are connected to the Sonos setup, and it took me like maybe 1 minute, and as you can see we're connected to the ARC, Aero 300s and sub. Once I put in the Ethernet cable, the HDMI and the power cord, and waited like 30 seconds to open the app, we're already set up. So that's the setup that I left in the app from the last test that we did. And like I said, that internet cable input is really important for some guys like me. I'm always gonna have at least one of the speakers connected to my router, and it's gonna be much easier to connect it in the app and for the whole setup to be ready as well. So yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of music test, but it is a different setup. As you can see, we got a little bit bigger surround speakers compared to Samsung's one. So we're gonna I'm gonna move these before we test out because these are, I don't know how they actually work with music, but we're gonna see. But we're gonna take them away. But yeah, same setup, same placement of the sub in the front to the right of the TV, and yeah, let's go.
I keep wave on my side, CJ Ike. Now I gotta roll with ice. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wave on my side, CJ Ike. Now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys.
and that was my Sonos setup, the Sonos Arc Era 300s and Sonos Sub Gen 3. I was kind of surprised. I don't know if you could see my reflection in TV. I just went over to my Era 300s because I thought that maybe for music that the front drivers will be on, but I was totally wrong. Even when they are set up as surround speakers and you use them for music, it's still only the side speakers and the firing speakers that are on from the Era 300s, which is a little bit of a bummer. Because when you use them exclusively for music and you set them up as stereo pair, it's a totally different speaker, and I wish that was how the Era 300s would work, or it's something that you could adjust in the app itself. But yeah, when you compare these two, as you can see, I think that the Samsung speaker, as we all know, can get a lot louder than my Sonos speaker and than the Sonos Arc. And if volume is a thing that you really prefer, then the Samsung speaker is an amazing setup. And I would say, if you're gonna choose between this year's Samsung Q995F versus last year's, or if you have last year's, that's a hard choice, because if you already have last year's and you're asking me if this year's is an upgrade, then I would say definitely, but that's only for the sub. The rest of the soundbar and the surround speakers are the same. It's the same soundbar. They have not done anything to make the soundbar sound more amazing than last year's, because Samsung Samsung put the bar so high that it was minor fixes to do for this year. So they included 120 hertz, 4K, whatever it is. And if that is something that you really want, wait for Black Friday. Samsung is gonna do some amazing deals by then. And what is it? It's already June. 4 or 5 months from now, you can get it at around $1,000 for this whole setup. And I hope that Samsung listens to some of us when we say that instead of buying this year's setup, they could just do a little bit of a firmware update, app update, where you can just buy the sub by itself and include it in last year's setup, because I don't think most of you guys that have last year's setup will buy this year's setup. Just because of the sub sounding a lot better. It is a lot better, but just for the sub, because some of you guys already told me that you loved last year's sub, and so, but for music it still sounds amazing. I didn't try out last year's, but I imagine if this year sounds incredible, then last year's is gonna sound really, really good as well. So if you have the Q995F and you have last year's Q995D as well, have you compared them, the side by side, the soundbars side by side, to really see what the biggest difference is between those two soundbars? I would really like to know in the comment section, and what you guys think about the Samsung Q995F in general. Do you have it? Do you plan on buying it? Are you gonna wait for Black Friday? Or because some of you guys got some amazing deals on it. I don't know how you can get the Q995F for around $500-600 already. That's an amazing deal to get, and congrats to some of you guys that got it for that amazing deal. If I could find it for that good of a deal, I would definitely buy it and put it maybe in my bedroom or something like that, because that's an amazing deal to get. $500-600 for the new latest Q995F is an amazing deal. So yeah, that's gonna be it for Samsung versus Sonos for now. I'm looking out to try out different soundbars. So if you have any in mind you want me to try out, we tried out JBL Bar 1300 versus my Sonos setup as well. I'm thinking about something towards Sony or LG. There are some guys mentioning TCL. TCL is doing amazing stuff for the past few years. So if you have something in mind you want me to try out, just put a comment in the comment section, and I will try to get my hands on it and give it a comparison versus the Sonos setup that I have. So yeah, it's an amazing sound system to have, the Samsung Q995F. If you're wondering if it's good for music, it's an amazing setup to have for music. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys from this video. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.